Today we're looking at reserves, one of the most misunderstood concepts in finance. This short guide is designed to make reserves clear and relevant using simple examples. People often think reserves are just spare cash sitting in the bank. But as John Harrison points out, reserves are usually reinvested into the assets of a business. So while they represent value, they don't always exist as cash you can spend immediately. Let's use a personal example. Imagine you have £2,000. You can either put it into a savings account or spend it on new windows for your home. Both choices count as reserves, but in very different ways. Let's look at scenario 1. You've decided to spend your £2,000 on new windows. That means your money isn't sitting in cash anymore. It's now tied up in an asset, the windows. On the balance sheet, this shows as £2,000 of assets matched by £2,000 of reserves. Simple so far. You've swapped cash for windows. But then you realise you also need a car costing £1,500. And yes, we all know that in real life you'd be lucky to get a car for that price. But let's go with it for this example. Now you've got your new windows and a car worth £3,500 in total. But because you had no cash left, you had to borrow £1,500 to buy the car. The balance sheet shows the windows and car as assets, a £1,500 loan as a liability, and your reserves are still £2,000, the same as your original investment. So what's happened here? You have two assets, windows and a car, but no cash. You've also taken on borrowing. Your reserves haven't changed, they're still £2,000 because you haven't put any extra money in. What this shows is that reserves can be tied up in assets. And just because you have reserves, it doesn't mean you have spare cash available to spend. Let's look at scenario 2. This time you decide to put your £2,000 into a savings account rather than spending it on windows. That means your reserves are sitting in cash, ready to be used. On the balance sheet, this looks straightforward. £2,000 of cash as your asset and £2,000 of reserves. Nothing borrowed, everything simple. Now you decide to buy a car for £1,500 using that cash. Again, slightly unrealistic pricing for a car, but it works for our example. After the purchase, your balance sheet shows two assets, a car worth £1,500 and £500 of cash still in the bank. You've not borrowed anything, so there are no liabilities, and your reserves remain at £2,000, the same as your original investment. So far in this scenario, you've bought a car outright, you still have some cash left and you have no debts. Your reserves remain at £2,000 because that's what you first invested, even though the mix of assets has changed. Next, you decide to use the last £500 for a trip to Paris. Unlike windows or a car, this is an expense. You've spent the cash and you don't have an asset to show for it. Now, your balance sheet shows just one asset, the car at £1,500. The cash is gone, and because that holiday doesn't leave behind anything of financial value, your reserves have reduced to £1,500. So in this scenario, you've still got the car, but you've spent down your cash and reduced your reserves. That's because expenses, like holidays, reduce reserves permanently, unlike assets. You can't sell a holiday later. And here's the key lesson. Reserves do not equal cash. Cash is what keeps a business running day to day, which is why you often hear the phrase, cash is king. Reserves represent the value you've built up, but that value might be tied into assets, not sitting ready to spend.